Hello, Blizzard fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Blizzard upload. This is Game 2 between HerO and Maru on Vaani Research Station. Now, in Game 1, Maru won that game, and he won it by dropping on into HerO's main while simultaneously sniping HerO's third base. And then at the end of that, HerO realized he was at an economic disadvantage and an army disadvantage and tapped out. So, I'm excited for this game just to see if HerO, the red Protoss at the bottom of the screen, can come back and win a game against Maru, the blue Terran at the top of the screen, and even up the series 1-1. We'll see if that's going to work out for him. Going to speed up just a little bit here. We do have the Starcraft logo with the happy little star face at the bottom here for Maru. We zoom out. Oh, a little bit too much of a zoom out. And down here, do we have any fun logos from HerO? Not much. It looks like there is maybe something of a Protoss logo around the outside of that Nexus, but nothing too crazy. Also important to note is that in Game 1, Maru did open Proxy Barracks, which is not something he did today. The barracks is very much inside his own base, very close to his command center, as well as HerO is putting his buildings very close to his own Nexus as well. We have the gateway coming up there. We have 2 gas early on from the Protoss player, which means we might see some Oracle play. We will see if this gets scouted out by Maru or not, and if he gets a turret up in his main. Basically anything that would help him recognize what's coming will be very effective against whatever HerO decides to do, which I think can be applied to most matchups in this game. But, you know, I thought I'd say it anyways. Alright, Scouting SCV, come on down. Let's see what he can see. And he comes right on into the main, gets a full scout off, sees that cyber core, sees the 2 gas, checks for the presence of an expansion, and does see one. He is also taking his command center back home, so neither player going for any really early aggression. They're both content to take their very safe expansions and be happy with it. So, we move back down here, the mothership core patrolling back and forth, gaining energy in case it needs to throw down a photon overcharge on this Nexus to defend against any craziness that is coming their way from the Terran player. We have a couple Marines coming out. We have a factory coming up as well. We're probably a 1-1-1 build from the Terran player, wherein you get a barracks and a factory and a starport, and see what shenanigans you can do with that. Scouting Reaper, I guess. He's going to come on in. Let's slow it down just a little bit. Let's see if he comes in to try to get any pickoffs. It'll be hard for him with the mothership core up. And I assume we're going to have a gateway, or a stalker. Yes, a stalker at the top of the ramp here as well. Reaper comes right on in. More of a scouting Reaper. He knows he can't get any kills, but will he stay alive is the question. Oh, final pickoff there from HerO. Manages to kill that Reaper before he can get an escape on home. The Reaper, again, was not intended to get any harassment off, just did a full scout, saw exactly what was going on, see the robo facility, which he did manage to do, and also double gas coming down from HerO. So he's planning on doing something that takes a whole lot of gas. Whether that's Immortals or Colossus or Stargate play. I guess with the Robo Facility, Stargate play is not necessarily in the cards, but a lot of Colossus would do. I'm not sure if I prefer that strategy from Protoss players, just because I feel like Templars and our Storm do a little bit better against the Bio Balls that Terran players do manage to usually come with in this game. A Colossus can kind of get stimmed and sniped down by Marauders, whereas Templars are a little bit more difficult to pick off. You have to kind of use Ghosts to EMP them down, and their Storm just has such a big radius and does so well against Marines that they're very, very effective. We do have an Oracle coming up the right side. Are we ready for this back home? We do have 5 Marines. I believe a single Oracle, if microed properly, can take down 5 Marines. Actually, are there 6? There are 6 Marines. I need to learn how to count. 6 Marines, however, pose a big problem for this Oracle. He doesn't want to go in there while there are 6 Marines hanging out. He will die after he gets maybe a couple worker kills if he really wants to, but it's not exactly cost effective. So we do have a Widow Mine drop coming down on the left side for Maru. So he says, whatever you can do, I can do better. We will see how this drop does. We're going to take a look at the main to see if HerO is ready for this. No cannons. There is detection out. He has an observer somewhere. If we look at the units tab, observer is somewhere is around here. I don't think I can click on that for some reason. Oh, that a sentry I just clicked on? Yeah, observer. There he is. He is in the main, so he'll be able to do a lot of help here. Dropping off the Widow Mines here. One gets picked up. Oh, they both get picked up. Fantastic play from HerO, picking up both those Widow Mines before they can burrow and sniping them down with the Phoenix. So it looks like we did open a little bit of some Stargate play. The Robo Facility looks like it was just for an observer, which was exactly what he needed. And the Stargate did its job. I mean, it really shut down that play from those Widow Mines, and in the end, he comes out ahead. So let's go to the production tab. We'll get back there. Blink being researched. Coming in vision, or the detection ability, coming down on the Oracle, seeing what they can see. Taking down a single SCV are these Phoenix. Gonna follow them around just a little bit, see what they can do. Are we actually following the Oracle? They come out just out of range and then pop back in, a bit of a feint. They're gonna try to get in, pick off another worker while they stay out of range of this Widow, or this turret, not quite able to do so. The Marines come to chase them away. 2 workers have died, but it's not exactly a huge amount. This Widow Mine getting picked off as well. It does have a single kill. It probably killed a probe that ran down here to get this base. A bit of an annoyance for HerO, but really nothing too major in the long run of things. Income tab, 44 to 52 Harvesters for the Protoss player. Oh, running underneath all those Marines was not a good idea. They do get an Envision off on themselves, though. So wherever they go, HerO knows where they're going to be for the next couple of minutes, which is really annoying. Terran likes to be sneaky, likes to get a lot of drops off, likes to do flanking, and that's hard to do when your opponent knows exactly where your army units are. So here we are, kind of poking around with the Phoenix. Third base going down again for HerO. Third base going up for Maru. I guess we could say up and down there, depending on what you want to say. Either way, we do have just this air group kind of sitting out front. Not much going on at all at this point. Both players just trying to macro up, trying to get their economies up and running, so when the big battle comes, they will have a bigger army than their opponent. And that's about it. Production tab shows Marauders, Marines, upgrades for armor and weapons coming down for both of those, and medevacs as well as an armory. So the armory could be an interesting choice. Another Envision going down on these guys. Oh, Widowmine shots taking out 2 of those Phoenix. Huge pickup. That Phoenix ball is now down to 1, which is not a ball at all. It's just a single Phoenix, unfortunately. A front supply depot going down, I guess, to see if give a little bit more advance warning for air units that are coming up. Those can get picked off by ground units, so I don't know. Probe checking for the presence of a 4th base here, not seeing much of anything at all. HerO taking a somewhat forward pylon there at the present, where his 4th base would need to go. And we say, you know what, I don't care if I'm envisioned. Maru says, I'm going to come on up here, take this watchtower, and see what you can do to stop me. So just kind of hanging out there, not going to pick up an attack. There we go. The Envision wears off. We might see a load up and a drop somewhere here in just a bit, but the HerO's flying units are in perfect position to intercept that. Just kind of making sure nothing air can come through here before they get shot down and destroyed. What are we working on back here in HerO's base? Yes, it is Colossus. It is Sentries. It is more and more gateways, more and more Colossus. +1 upgrades already up on those guys. And Stalkers just waiting for that drop. Come on in. I will snipe you down before you can do anything, say those Stalkers. Small push with Marines, Marauders, and a couple medevacs. Stimming forward, trying to take down that Oracle. Not quite able to do it, wasting a bit of energy on these medevacs, but they have a lot to spare, so no big deal. Another Envision goes down. Just so annoying. Maru is not able to do anything with these guys without HerO knowing exactly what's going on, which is so frustrating for him. Maru just continuing to make Marines, Marauders, medevacs. The standard MMM play we've seen all the way since Wings of Liberty. And both players just kind of hanging out. Nothing too aggressive going on. Observer on the high ground. Checking out what's going on over here. We have a drop attempted over on this area, but I think it got chased away by these Stalkers. It has taken a bit of damage. And just kind of moving back and forth. This Envision really preventing Maru from getting in and doing the damage that he wants to do. So we'll have to see what he decides to do to counteract this Envision strategy from HerO. HerO, Maru, whatever. Ghost Academy coming up. Ghosts are really good with their EMPs. They're able to take down energy on units like these sentries, and able to take down shields as well on units like everything that Protoss has. Every single Protoss unit has shields, including the buildings, and taking down the shields removes about 50% of the effective health of those buildings and those units. So if you can get some good EMPs off, it'll make the Protoss army a lot easier to clean up. We'll see Scouting, Hallucinated Phoenix, seeing exactly what's coming his way. I don't know if he actually got in range of those units or what, but scared them off just the same. No 4th base coming up for either player. This probe's about ready to take a 4th. Might be a little bit scared of doing that. We are going to move up and attack. One Widow Mine does get a shot off, taking down a couple Stalkers and putting a lot of damage down on those Zealots, killing a Zealot as well. I think pushing up, attacking while taking your 4th base is a pretty smart move from HerO. We'll have to see what he decides to do. The army size looks a little bit small for our Terran player at the 15-minute mark of the game. I guess he is maxed out, basically. 192 of 193 available. Let's look at the units tab. He's got 41 Marines, 20 Marauders, 3 Ghosts, 8 Vikings. Vikings are fantastic against the Colossus because they can attack them from a distance, which is so nice to counteract the distance of the Colossus themselves. Do we have Extended Thermal Lance quite yet? I don't know if we do. It's a good question. Either way, we are stimming up, moving up, seeing what we can see. This Terran player is moving as fast as he can. We're going to zoom out a little bit. Is there a base here? No, there's not, but there is a base coming up over here. Maru coming in as a Zealot counterattack, taking down 3, 4, 5 SCVs, just doing a lot of damage. This one Marauder is not quite enough to handle it, but he does decoy them away long enough for the main army to respond. With a little better control, I feel like HerO could have kept his Zealots in there and gotten a few more SCV kills, but they did get baited out instead. HerO takes the option to move on in and snipe down a couple medevacs, which is a huge pickup. He does lose a couple Stalkers, but that's enough. He has the Colossus and the Templar. Excellent choice from him. Just a good balance of what you need to do against Protoss. The Vikings are swinging in, trying to take these down. Storms going down on the left and right and middle, just burning down everything, dancing back and forth. Are these bio units trying to stay alive? The Colossus doing a lot of damage. A couple Vikings left, but getting stormed down and attacked down by these Blink Stalkers. How many? Oh, there are still a lot of Vikings, though. All of the Colossus fall. A couple of the Vikings actually landing to deal with the remainder of these Stalkers. A blink back to try to stay alive and keep these Archons from dying. No, the Archons die anyway. A big group of Zealots comes on in to help. And they might be able to take this planetary fortress if they attack now, but instead they decide to move on up and chase the remainder of Maru's army. They have Zealot legs. They come right on in, do a lot of damage. The screams from the Ghosts as they die are very audible at this point. Stalkers trying to take down medevacs. That's pretty much what they're there to do. They don't want to try to focus anything down at this point. The medevacs die, and the composition of Bile for Terran is greatly weakened at that point. It's 136 to 127 supply, so both players fairly even at this point. That engagement was not really in anybody's favor. This pylon at the back, though, is visible to Maru, but he hasn't decided to take it out yet. He does get this forward pylon, though, and I think he might head over to take out this one next. Yes, he stems right on, takes out that pylon, just because if we get a big warping of Zealots here, or Dark Templar, they might be able to take down this planetary fortress without much trouble at all. A floating factory over here doing a bit of scouting. We pick up some units in that medevac. We're going to try to drop along the left side while defending against this army here. A big storm goes down right on top of those units. Good stim and move back, though, prevents a lot of these units from taking too much damage from the storm. A scan comes in here on top of his own command center and does have 2 kills, and the planetary fortress does. We're going to try to move in and try to kill it. The Colossus does have +3 upgrades and +3 armor. Armor is so much more important for Protoss against Terran than it is against Zerg. And as we see here, the +3 coming down from HerO. A big move on in, though. We're going to zoom out. There are a couple of Vikings, not quite enough. There we go. Now they join their buddies to take down the Colossus. Huge storms coming down. SCVs being pulled off the line. Zealots smashing down Marauders on the left side here. They are getting healed up, though. And a force, I believe the remainder of these forces do require a pullback from the Protoss army. A swing around the right side does take out this forward pylon and the probe. They're going to retreat, though, in the face of the larger part of HerO's army. Just get out of there. They just want to prevent too many reinforcements from coming up. But there's another pylon up here that he has to worry about. Another move in up top. We're going to zoom back on out. And no, it's too good of a concave from Maru. He's pulled SCVs off the line. He is being flanked a little bit by these armies on the top and the bottom. And in the end, just decides to retreat, trying to snipe down a couple medevacs that are a little bit too eager, getting ahead of the group. These Colossus with 5 kills and 11 kills each, doing a lot of damage, but eventually they do get taken down by the Marauders as well. A couple Stalkers and a few Zealots left. Some good micro from Maru will clean this up, but instead he just kind of decides to hold his ground. He does eventually clean up the Zealots. The Archons move in, and they're not able to kill anything before they're forced to retreat. Is one of them going to die? This one's being focused down. He only has 3 hit points left, and eventually he does die. The slowing attack from the Marauders forces these guys to retreat, but they do stay alive in the long run. So both players kind of resetting at this point. 124 to 113 supply. Haven't really seen any successful drops from the Terran player. Haven't noticed any probe kills go down. These 4 bases for HerO have been up for pretty much the last 5 or 6 minutes, which is huge for him. The more income he can get, the better off he'll be against Terran, especially these Marauders and Marines that have +3/+3 upgrades and are so scary, so survivable. We have a Dark Templar moving up on his own, checking for the presence of another base from Maru, but there's not one. He's probably going to head over here to the gold and see if there's anything there he can snipe off. He is invisible. There are... Ooh, recognizing that the Xel'Naga tower has been taken, though. Yes, the scan goes down. The Dark Templar is killed. He tries to pick up the Xel'Naga tower, but inadvertently notifies the rest of the Terran army that he is there. And so the scan comes down, and he ends up dead for his trouble. So if you're a Dark Templar, try not to scout at Xel'Naga watchtowers when there are Terran units about. You will probably die if you do that. Even though scouting is good, staying alive is probably a little bit better. We do have the Nexus, Nexus being guarded by the Mothership Core here along the left side. It is the most likely area for Maru to attack. A photon overcharge would help a lot in that event. So, just kind of dancing back and forth is Maru. He does have a sensor tower, yes, right there to recognize if any units are warping in or coming along this path or this path. It's a good place for a sensor tower. It can recognize where units are. It can't tell you what they are if they're still inside the fog of war, but it can still be very useful in helping to head off an attack. We are moving out with a small group of just only Marauders. I don't know. Stim in, move out. Yeah, a single Zealot goes down there. The stim might have been wasted. Going to go ahead and try to take down this assimilator. Yes, manages to get down the assimilator. The photon overcharge comes up, though. A bit of a wasted overcharge. I don't believe it killed any of the Marauders whatsoever. But they did stim, so they lost a little bit of health, which should be replenished by these medevacs, no problem. This Zealot is really intent on taking this Xel'Naga watchtower. Gets up, takes down the Marine, and does hold that, which is a really nice pickup for him. We're taking the gold base now. HerO's interested in expanding a little bit more. He feels pretty darn comfortable. Maru is not interested in taking that gold base at this point. It's a bit of a... the Mothership Core might get sniped off if he's not careful. Yes, does get taken down by the Vikings. And is that enough for Maru? Does he want to attack anymore? Yes, he's going to stim in. He does see what he likes to see. The ghosts at the front, though, a bunch of them do die. A bunch of EMPs going down on all of the Protoss units. You'll notice none of them have any shields left at all. Vikings moving on in, sniping down all these Colossus. Marauders doing tons of damage to the Stalkers in the front. Everybody being healed up by a huge bunch of medevacs in the back. Just the Terran army is dying, but not quite quickly enough, I don't think. We do have a bunch of Zealots in here to absorb a bunch of shots, but they too get melted. All of the Stalkers are going to die unless they can blink out of there. The Colossus moving up as well. There is no photon overcharge because the Mothership Core was sniped off earlier. It is a small group of Terran units, but they can be very effective and very deadly, especially with the +3 attack. They do stim and kite back all of these Zealots, destroying them. It's 122 to 93 supply for the Terran player. He needs reinforcements if he can. They are streaming down here from the top. Is it enough to push and actually end this game? That is the question. We are long distance mining from the gold here. I was wondering what that was on the minimap. Stimming in are the Marauders trying to take down even more and more Zealots. Zealots are dying left and right there, but they're buying a lot of time for this Mothership Core to get out and gain some energy, which means they are worth their weight in minerals at this point. The Marauders just really doing a ton of damage, moving right on in. Mothership Core comes up. Not enough energy for photon overcharge yet. It does need 100. Another EMP going down on these Archons, making them virtually worthless. A bunch of Zealots going down. Zealots being warped in. I don't know if they're the answer, but it's pretty much all that HerO can do. A stim on in, and HerO calls the GG as he is about to lose his 4th base. And that's it. So, Maru does tie up the series 1-1. This series will move on to a Game 3 here, tied up, which makes it very exciting. It's a pivotal game in Game 3. This has been Falcon Paladin. If you liked what you saw today, hit that like button, hit subscribe, tell your friends if they like StarCraft 2 to watch my channel. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at /FalconPaladin. And until next time, you take care of yourself.